What's up, guys? I'm Solid Jake, and this is a Chen Spotlight. We're going to be talking about Chen Stormstout, the newest hero in the Heroes of the Storm Technical Alpha, going over his abilities and basically how he functions as a hero. Now, jumping right on in, his trait is Brew, and this is kind of what the whole character is based around. Instead of mana, power your abilities by drinking Brew and gain shield while drinking. Now, you see it's a 5-second cooldown here, and it's actually an ability where you have to channel Chen drinking Brew to gain your mana. Now, this restores his mana pretty rapidly, but it's the only way he can get mana. He can't generate mana by going to wells. He can't generate mana by just, over time. And he can't generate mana literally any other way. This is the only way you can restore his resource, which is called Brew, and all of his abilities use this resource. Now, going into his abilities, Flying Kick is his Q, where you kick through the enemy target, so it works essentially just like Illidan's Q, where you go over them, going out to the other side, allowing you to body block them, giving you that utility of being on the other side and really just bullying them around as much as you can. Uses 10 mana, again it says mana, should say Brew, uses 10 Brew, and it's got a 5-second cooldown. His W is Keg Smash, where you throw a keg at nearby enemies, covering them in Brew and slowing them. Now, it's not the resource Brew, it's actually Brew this time, which is kind of confusing, but again, the resource is 20 Brew, not mana. It's got a 5-second cooldown, so the cooldowns are consistent with his Q and W, and this is essentially slow. And this pairs really well with his E, which is Breath of Fire. Cost 30 Brew, 5-second cooldown once again, and you breathe fire into your target direction, dealing damage and igniting Brew-soaked enemies. So if you Keg Smash someone, it does bonus damage over time, from the Brew if you use Breath of Fire after using the Keg Smash. Looking at his heroics, he's got two. He's got Wandering Keg, where he actually jumps into a barrel and knocks enemies around. When he jumps in the barrel, he cannot be stunned. Void Prism will stop him, but he cannot be stunned. He gets a ton of shield, so he's more or less invincible when he's in the barrel, and he moves quite quickly, just pushing everyone around. Really, this is a incredibly strong heroic, and it's got so much zone control and so much just presence on the battlefield, and you can use it as an escape as well. And Storm, Earth, and Fire is the second heroic, where you split into 3 spirits and you gain new abilities. Now, these abilities are one where you actually just jump onto all of the enemies. This is really good because all 3 Chen forms, or the 3 spirits that you split into, will body block. So you can really leap into a target location and really just kind of block someone out and do a decent amount of damage. You just right-click to attack with this form. One has range and 2 are melee, and one of them slows between the 3 spirits, so it does a lot of damage. And the second ability is actually just a split. You can spread them out, split them up if you need to survive. But the thing with the spirit is that essentially it works something like Odin, or it works like a second transformation, where once it dies, you just come back with your normal health bar. So it's a second health bar on top of your initial health bar, and it gives you 3 different bodies to use to not only damage, but body block. Now, Chen typically is very weak. This makes him a little bit stronger when he's in this heroic, but he is a very, very weak damage dealer when it comes to the game. He is a tank, after all. But let's actually just jump into the game before we really look at the talents and just get an idea of how the character plays and what the different abilities do. And so the game's going to load up, and we're going to run through the talents pretty quickly just to show off what he has. So first we're going to look at the abilities, run around in our little horse here, get out in the open, and we will toggle the minions so we can show you how everything works out. So the minions are on their way, and you can see right here with the Q, Flying Kick, you actually just go on the opposite side, and you can just start damaging away. Now, Keg Smash, again, AoE, target area, pretty short range, and then Brew Soaked, you'll see he's on fire there because he's Brew Soaked, so do a little bit of damage over time, increasing the efficiency. Now, I have no mana left, and you notice it's not regenning, so you actually just have to drink some Brew, and you actually gain shield, which will last for 2 seconds after you stop drinking. That shield is really useful for just getting in their face, jumping in and then just drinking. You're just tanking damage right now. You're not actually taking any damage to your health bar, and then you can just use all your cooldowns and kind of rinse and repeat. So the way he ends up working out is, since all his cooldowns are 5 seconds across the board, I mean, it's 5 seconds for literally every ability except his heroic, all the cooldowns are going to constantly refresh. So you can just queue in, throw your Keg Smash down and throw your Breath of Fire and immediately start drinking, even though you're right in their face, because that's really how you tank damage, is by using Fortifying Brew. That's not only giving you shield, but it's regenerating your mana, allowing you to do that full combo again. So that's really how Chen ends up working out. You just go in, blow all your cooldowns, and just drink. And then by the time you finish drinking, you can do it all again. So we're going to toggle the minions off and just take a look at all his talents really quick. So he's got Deadly Strike, which increases the damage and Flying Kick. Again, Chen is pretty weak, so I mean, speccing into damage might not be super useful. This helps a little bit if you want to try to build a damage build. You can increase the slow on full Keg. I like this talent a lot. Consuming Flame increases the duration of the burn from Breath of Fire. So again, if you do you get the burn on the Brew Soaked targets with Breath of Fire, this increases the damage or the duration of the damage, increasing the damage inherently. And Regen Master, I feel that Chen really needs this. I mean, he's tanking a lot using the shield from Fortifying Brew, but I think Regen Master is my personal pick. We're just gonna spam the level up button really quick so we can get to the next talent. And we can just keep leveling up while we look here. Now we got Bottomless Mug, Chug, Amplified Healing, and Deep Breath. You can increase the size by 25% on both the arc and the range of Breath of Fire. If you're speccing for Breath of Fire, I mean that's really great. You can definitely get Combustion and some other talents like that increase the damage of Breath of Fire. But again, Chen is essentially designed for peeling and zoning. He's all about getting in their way and knocking them out of position and really just kind of being in their face. So personally, I don't think it's super viable to build Chen as a damage dealer, especially at this point in the game. So I actually go with Regen Master, and then I like Chug a lot. It's really nice, and the extra mana is nice as well. 50 more brew is again, I said mana, but 50 more brew is really, really helpful. I mean, you only have 100 pool, so this gives you 50% bonus pool to your brew, which is pretty significant, so it's definitely a viable option. Chug, you can see, goes twice as fast. If I just blow some cooldowns here, you drink much quicker. So I enjoy that personally, but a lot of the times you're actually going to want to be drinking longer than less. And this really helps, Chug helps a lot when you're facing a composition with Kerrigan or anyone that has a stun. So Kerrigan, Uther, because that's kind of like the kryptonite to this character. Chen really struggles with characters that wait to stun him as soon as he starts drinking. Because without the drink, without being able to use Fortifying Brew, he can't, not only he can't take damage because he doesn't have the shielding to protect him, but he can't use his abilities because he has no mana. This is the only way he gets mana, and when people interrupt it and you kind of want to be using it in their face, it ruins his day. So by having Chug, you get a little bit more brew back than they would with the stun, and it might be enough to help you out in a lot of situations because it makes a big difference as to how much quicker you drink the brew. So I like Chug for that, and again, you can go with stuff like Amplified Healing because that gives additional healing to him received, which is nice. So at level 7 Swift Reflexes, you have the chance to dodge every 4 seconds, which is nice. And that really does add up, especially if you're facing like something like Hammer or Illidan or somebody or Vala that's doing a lot of auto attacks for a lot of damage. It's really, really nice. The 1 second root on the Flying Kick is huge, especially for just securing kills and locking someone down. Ring of Fire, it gives you damage over time around Chen. This is also nice because that after you're doing your full combo using QWE, and then you start chugging your brew, you're doing damage around you. So for certain kind of compositions, especially if you're trying to go like some kind of crazy Chen jungle build, which I haven't tested but could be viable, that could be really nice. Boulder Flavor increases the shields from Fortifying Brew. This is huge. Shield generation and maximum from Fortifying Brew increased by 40%. That's a lot of shielding. And then gain bonuses based on the current level of brew. While below 50 brew, regenerate an additional 20 health per second. While at or above 50 brew, gain 15% movement speed. So that's actually a really, really fun trait. Just kind of mixes up the character a lot and gives them a little bit more uniqueness. When it comes to level 10, I personally think Wandering Keg is just too good to pass up. Storm, Earth, and Fire is fun. Gives you the three different spirits, but you really can't control them individually, even though you have the ability to split them up and pounce in one location. The Keg, you can get out of almost any situation and live. You can get hyper aggressive and just keg out. You can push an entire enemy team away to save your team. It just gives you so much zoning and so much control. I really think it has to be toned down. It's so strong right now, so we'll see where the ability actually ends up. And we got to choose our level 7, so we're actually going to grab Brewmaster's Balance because it's a fun. Swift Reflexes is great, like I said, and 10 we're going to grab Wandering Keg. So looking at level 13, we got Brew Strikes, a touch of honey, enough to share, Last Drop, and Relentless. Now Flying Kick has a reduced cooldown from Brew Soaked targets with Brew Strike. That's nice, but again, the way the character ends up working out right now with the QWE all lining up with the same cooldown, I don't think speccing into another cooldown really helps him out too much. You can increase the Keg Smash slow, which is Obviously, Phenomenal gives him a lot of control, a lot of tool. This would be amazing with a ton of different compositions. Enough to share. Fortifying Brew shields nearby allies. If we just toggle the minions one more time, you can see, and I'm not actually sure if it works on bots. Doesn't look like it just works on other heroes. But when Malfi gets up here, we can see that we can actually shield him. And this is really, really nice, especially if you know that you're going to be able to keep your brew off. Just everybody around you is getting that extra protection. And it really makes a big difference. And Combustion, again, if you're going for a kind of damage build, I can totally see it being viable, but I haven't really played with it. Damage to brew-soaked enemies increased. Let's just toggle these guys off. And damage taken immediately instead. So this just makes your flame do burst damage rather than damage over time. Makes them a bit more bursty, or actually a lot more bursty. And again, if you're speccing into fire, I could see this being interesting, especially if you, for whatever reason, you're solo queuing and you really need some damage in your composition. That might be the way to go. Shields from Fortifying Brew last longer, also another amazing trait, because currently you last for 2 seconds after you're drinking your brew. This makes it so that your brew will last for, your shields will last for 2 seconds longer, being a total of 4 seconds after you stop drinking. So that could be amazing, because 4 seconds versus 2 seconds is a huge difference. But again, it's really fun to be able to you know, do the bonus damage for the other kind of compositions. And the increased range on the Cake Smash is pretty significant. I mean, before it was about here, and you can see how far you can throw your cake now to lock someone down with your Q and really hunt them down. So it depends what you're going for. When it comes to level 20, you get this increased movement speed on the keg, and it's actually kind of nuts. We'll look at it real quick. I think it's the way to go, because he is just rolling around. You can do whatever you want. Just soak up all the damage and just kind of get out of any situation. And note that that knocks people around as well. It's not just to get out. So honestly, I think that's probably the way I like to play him. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of different options there. There's no correct way to play Chen Stormstout, but really, the way I like to play him is just zone control, get the extra shielding, get the shielding for your allies, get in their face, and just kind of lock people down, try to secure kills, but at the same time, soak up as much damage as you humanly can. You just have to remember that when someone stuns you, a character like Kerrigan, while you're drinking, it makes you super vulnerable. It really shuts you down as a character. It's just the #1 way to deny Chen, because if you don't have shields, you don't have mana, you really don't have a lot going for you. So that's the big thing you have to worry about with Chen. And you know, really his biggest weakness at this point in time. Granted, this is the first patch where Chen's in the alpha. Pretty much every time Blizzard likes to add a new hero to the game, they end up tweaking them a lot afterwards. I mean, that's a nice part of it being an alpha. We all get to kind of test the character out. So it'll be interesting to see where the hero ends up. So let me know what you think about Chen Stormstout. If you've played against him, or if you've just only seen this video, how you feel about the hero. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And feel free to hit that follow button, the subscribe button, Twitch TV, Twitter, and YouTube. It's all SolidJakeGG. So thanks for watching, guys, and take care.